The story begins by introducing Gingo, a man often called the Four-Eyed Frog. Gingo enjoys spending his time in the night bar meeting various women. But his fun came to a halt when the police came and raided him. When dealing with a hired lady, Gingo has to pay an expensive fine to get out of the problem. The next day is seen the life of a family in which a girl named Mui stay with his father. Mui's father decided to leave his job as a fisherman after realizing that Mui had a slight disorder in which he was very hypersexual. His father now made Mui the main livelihood of their family. When the afternoon arrived, project workers began queuing up to be able to enjoy Mui's homemade cakes. Gingo is one of Mui's loyal customers, fascinated by the delicacy of homemade cakes. Although Mui has a rather plump body, Gingo admires her beauty. Mainly because of the delicacy of Mui's body, Gingo has aspirations to marry Mui because he is tempted by the delicacy of her beauty. Gingo also felt sorry for Mui because he had to serve several buyers every day. The next day, Mui's father came to the horse racing betting place and used Mui's work money to gamble. Meanwhile, Mui's customer men discussed the difference between playing on land and on a boat. They found a new sensation when playing in the middle of a fairly large wave when breaking Mui's goal. One day Gingo returned to play futsal with Mui. While enjoying Mui's watermelon, Gingo was surprised to see milk coming out of his watermelon. After being traced, it turned out that Mui already had a child. Gingo strongly urges her to get married soon. Without lingering, Gingo decides to marry Mui. Keep the wedding simple. After Mui's marriage, they moved to Gingo's cramped and messy house in the middle of the city. They live with Gingo's mother. Since Mui always wanted to play futsal, they spent a lot of time on the activity. Their noisy voices made Gingo's mother and Mui's son have to use headsets. Because they continue to play futsal without knowing the time, they often get reprimands from their neighbors who cannot bear the noise. Every time Mui asked to play futsal, even in public places, he eagerly asked Gingo to obey his desire to play. When they saw a truck, they decided to ride and play futsal on it. The truck driver came. They were still just doing the game while walking in the middle of the city. A few weeks after getting married, the impact of playing futsal often began to be felt for Gingo. Frequent play makes it difficult to walk. When working, the pain he feels interferes with his activities. He even got fired from his job. One day when Gingo came home, he was confused because he did not find Mui at home. After looking around his apartment, it turned out Mui was at a neighbor's house and was cool playing futsal with his neighbors. Tell Gingo that Mui took him first. Feeling incredulous, Gingo finally takes Mui back to his apartment. When Gingo finds it difficult to handle the very high lust desires of Mui, finally he decided to return Mui to his father. That's when the father told that Mui once had a husband, an old grandfather his age. But the grandfather returned Mui to him because he was unable to handle the situation. At first his father was convinced that Gingo was a good fit for Mui. But it turned out that Gingo's performance was still far below Mui's expectations. At night Mui suddenly felt restless and wanted to play futsal. Her first husband came, but the old man couldn't start the game. Finally the father used his old way by removing his fake hand to stir Mui's sensitive parts. The next day Gingo looks for a way to deal with this uncontrolled problem. He decided to call a doctor to check on Mui. The doctor explained to Gingo about the specialty of Mui's papaya, which he said is very rare in the world. Even so, doctors could not provide a solution because there was no medicine to overcome Mui's condition. In desperation they prayed because Mui's condition was getting unbearable. Without any medical solution that could help, they decided to return Mui to his services to open a futsal sports service. This decision ultimately becomes additional income for them. But their luck was turned when a police check revealed that their boat was illegal to dock at the pier and had to leave immediately. As time went by, their business began to quiet down and they approached the ships one by one in the hope of getting customers who wanted to use their services, especially to meet the needs of Mui. Then there are those who say that the disease suffered by Mui is related to the legend of the sea in Hong Kong. It is said that to cure it, a special sea fish is needed. Gingo and Mui decide to buy sea eels, and by attaching a safety balloon to the eel, then they let it into Mui's genitals. Although it sounded a bit strange, they hoped that this would bring about a cure for Mui. After successfully overcoming the challenges faced, Mui looks so happy because now he is able to control himself, even if only for a moment. After that, they ate the eel together, which was used as a healing medium for Mui. The next day, they continue the search for customers who want to use their services. While Mui was playing futsal, Gingo and his father went around the market buying food and offering their services with ease. They managed to attract the attention of many new customers at the pier. Almost all men are interested in tasting Mui's homemade cakes. Overnight, the news about Mui the cake seller spread widely among the mothers around him. They quickly flocked in search of Mui's whereabouts. On the other hand, Mui felt disappointed by a man because the futsal game was too short. After the incident, Mui returned to his ship, and when he met Gingo and his father, Mui instead chose to stay away. At the end of the road, Mui cried and even managed to escape by swimming in the water. But luckily Gingo managed to find him again. Then at the end of the film, Mui and his family look to continue sailing because they do not have a berth. Despite trying various ways, Mui turned out to be incurable. This adds sadness and uncertainty to the ending of their story. Create the impression that life is a journey full of unexpected challenges.